Once upon a time, in a small town, there stood an old and spooky college. It was called Whispering Hollow College. This college was famous not for its great teachers or brilliant students, but for something much darker. People said it was haunted. There was a young man named Tim who was a student at Whispering Hollow College. Tim was an ordinary guy, but he had a curious mind. He was the first to notice strange things happening in the college. He saw books floating in the air, heard whispers in the empty halls, and felt icy chills on warm days. Tim was sure there was a ghost in the college, but when he told his friends about it, they laughed and thought he was making it all up. "Ghosts aren't real, Tim," they said. "You're just being silly." One day, Tim decided to prove them wrong. He asked his friends, Sarah and Mike, to spend the night with him in the college after everyone had gone home. "We'll find out if there's really a ghost here," Tim said with determination. Reluctantly, Sarah and Mike agreed to stay the night. They brought sleeping bags, flashlights, and some snacks to keep them company. As the night fell and the college grew quiet, they settled in one of the classrooms. At first, nothing happened, and the friends began to relax. But suddenly, the doors slammed shut with a loud bang. They jumped in fright. "It must have been the wind," Sarah said, trying to reassure herself. But then, the lights flickered and went out. The room was plunged into darkness, and the friends could barely see each other. They were starting to get really scared now. Out of nowhere, a ghostly voice whispered, "You should not have come here." Sarah and Mike screamed, but Tim stood his ground. "We just want to know who you are and why you're here," he said bravely. The ghostly voice chuckled, sending shivers down their spines. "You will regret staying here," it warned. As the night wore on, things got even scarier. They heard footsteps echoing through the hallways, even though there was no one there. Furniture moved on its own, and strange shadows danced on the walls. Then, the worst happened. They saw blood. It dripped from the walls and pooled on the floor, forming a gruesome message. "Leave now." Terrified, they huddled together in the corner of the classroom. But the ghost wasn't finished with them yet. It appeared before them, a ghostly figure with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. Its face was a nightmare, and it spoke with a voice that made their hearts race. "I am the guardian of this college," it hissed. "I will never let anyone leave." They begged and pleaded with the ghost, but it was relentless. It showed them horrifying visions of things that made them scream in terror. Mike was the first to succumb to the fear. His heart couldn't take it, and he collapsed, lifeless, on the floor. The ghost laughed a wicked laugh and disappeared into thin air. Sarah and Tim were left alone with their friend's lifeless body. Tears streamed down their faces as they realized the terrifying truth. They were trapped in a haunted college, and there was no way out. Throughout the night, they endured more horrors. Objects floated and crashed, and the ghostly figure returned to torment them with its nightmarish presence. They were convinced they would never make it out alive. As dawn broke and the first rays of sunlight pierced through the windows, the ghost retreated. Sarah and Tim were exhausted and terrified, but they had survived the night. They gathered their strength and carried Mike's lifeless body out of the college. Word spread about their horrifying experience, and Whispering Hollow College became known as the most haunted place in town. Tim and Sarah never spoke about that night again, but they knew that the ghost they had encountered was real, and its malevolent presence would haunt their memories forever.